Most search funders don't lose deals because they're outbid. They lose deals because sellers and their bankers don't believe them when they say they can do certain things. Now, take that as a very good thing. It means you don't have to out private equity. You just need to convince someone that you can do something and then actually do it. In this video, we're going to walk through 10 ways in which you, as a search funder, can actually win good deals and beat out private equity and beat out strategics more often than you think. I'm Arthur Petropoulos, Managing Partner and President here at Hillview Partners. We're a middle market investment banking firm selling companies making $1 to $20 million a year in pre-tax earnings or EBITDA across all industries, nationally, internationally as well. So jumping into the list, the first way you can set yourself up to win a good deal as a search funder is treat this as a business, not a school project. Don't tell people, I learned about this in this class and therefore I'm trying to apply it in the real world, right? Tell people, I'm an investor. We are investors. We are looking for these types of companies. But you have to kind of set an avatar, if you will, to the audience, whether it's bankers, whether it's to companies directly, because they don't want to feel that this is amateur hour. Right? If you go into a hospital and someone says, hey, I'm here to do your surgery. I'm an intern or I'm a resident. I'm really keen on doing this. You're going to feel slightly less good than if the 65-year-old veteran walked in saying, I've done 1,000 of these before. Maybe they're just as good, maybe they're better, but you're not going to have the confidence if they're doing your surgery. They are not going to have the confidence if they're potentially selling you their business. 2, legacy is not the only lever to counteract price. So yes, there is a baseline thought for search funders versus strategics or private equity, and sometimes it's true that private equity or institutional capital is going to pay more for something. The counterbalancing effort has always been, we will preserve your legacy. We will make sure that the good name of your company and family is not forgotten. And that has a place, but it's not the totality of what a seller is doing. Right? Think of what a seller really wants when they're selling a business. They want a good price, they want a good structure, they want a transition to the next season of life for them, and they want their employees taken care of. Now overlay that with a few variables of they want fast speed, high certainty, little pain. Right? We're talking about many more variables than just whether their name's going to be on the side of a building forever, because even in that, right, even in the idea of preserving legacy, I'd say 1 out of every 3 companies that we sell, like that's a driving factor. Far more times it's I want the employees taken care of and my family getting to the next chapter of life. Would it be nice to keep the legacy? Sure, but you don't want to sell things to people. Because remember, when you're trying to buy a company, you are selling someone on the idea of selling their business to you. You don't want to just sell on something that's nice, that's nostalgic. You want to sell on solving actual pain. We will get you to the next season of life, fast, with high certainty, with little pain. That solves a lot of problems for people, right? Price, structure, transition, employees, those being the other key variables. That's what will really resonate. So don't just limit it to legacy, because you have much more to offer to a seller that will be many times even more compelling. Number 3, show interest and experience. Don't be too narrow, don't be too broad. To make that actually tangible and operational, right, when you're reaching out to whether it's intermediaries, bankers, brokers, or reaching out to companies, say, hey, we are interested in companies in these sectors of this size. So, hey, we're looking for industrial distribution, niche manufacturing, and industrial B2B services companies, right? Keep it broad so that if they do have stuff that fits into these buckets, it's good. And then if you want really specific stuff, saying with a particular interest, if you have anything, or with a particular interest, again, if it's the type of company you're reaching out to, in chemical tolling companies, in fastener and bolt distributors, in specialty HVAC component manufacturing, whatever it is, right? So I think start broad, give a few buckets, narrow it in. You don't want to be too narrow and say, I just need an Omaha-based air handling services provider company, right? Because then people are going to say, well, I don't have that kind of stuff, or you're just kind of looking for needles in a haystack. And conversely, you don't also want to just kind of give the list from the intelligent investor and say, we are agnostic of industry and want any company that has been profitable with a 30% margin for 15 years, with no turnover, with no lawsuits, with only revenue growth of at least a cumulative average growth rate of 12% a year, right? It starts to be like, well, that's great. If there was that out there, which there rarely is, that's when you will be outbid. So paint the picture of something that's interesting to you, so people say, okay, they have some direction, but it's not hyper specialized where there's just not going to be lots of them. Number 4, have real capital in a real plan. Don't go into something saying, yeah, I've got some investors that could be interested if I find, the Goldilocks solution to what I'm looking for. Say we have committed capital. You don't need to tell people who it's from. Just say we have committed capital from private equity or whoever, right? We have committed capital from family offices. And what do you need to be a family office? A family and an office, right? But point being is just try to get a point across that we have committed capital, and when we buy a company, we're looking to grow. Now balance that. Say we want to keep what works, and we have some new ideas for marketing. We want to keep what works, and we want to operationally enhance things. Remember, it's evolution, not revolution. You're going to go into something good already, acknowledge that it's good, and try to make it better. That's going to resonate. Number 5, have a timeline with specific steps. This is where you can really, really beat strategic and private equity. They get something under LOI, they kind of drift. Even as they're approaching to the LOI, it's hard. It's like nailing Jello to a wall sometimes, trying to get the offers out of things, trying to crystallize the different terms of it. So if you say, look, I'm going to have this meeting with you. We're going to talk about a few things. After this, I'd like you to send me some materials. Within a week, I will respond to you with whether we are interested in providing a high-level indication of interest. I'd then like to come visit you, and a week after that, I will have a letter of intent to you. Should we enter diligence, within 30 days, the quality of earnings will be done. Within 30 days after that, we will have the definitive documentation agreed upon and negotiated, and within 30 days of that, we will have the bank financing in place and we will close. If you do that, that's magical, right? And then set in a few things early in the process too, easy layups. Tell people, within 2 days of this, I'll send you an email saying what I think about the financials. Within 3 days of this, I'll tell you, how pretty I think your building is, whatever it is, right? But just set up a few steps. Make it 10 to 20 steps of the whole process and actually do those things, and you'd be amazed at how much confidence that instills in the process. Just by defining that list, just by telling someone that you have a list and that you will be doing things, will provide a lot of confidence. And really what it does is it kind of takes away the pain or the uncertainty. Remember, the greatest driver in life of activity or action is pain. The second greatest driver is the fear of future pain. A distant third is pleasure and joy. But when someone's looking to sell a business, there may not be pain at every step, but there's always a fear of future pain. I don't know how this works. I don't know how the timing's going to work. I don't want to languish forever. There's all these horror stories of deals going sideways. So if you solve that fear of future pain by virtue of providing a defined timeline, that's going to score a lot of good points. All right, next, 6, be less of a pain. A lot of buyers will find something that's not perfect, and guess what? There's going to be something not perfect about every deal, and they'll just dump it on someone's desk and say, where do you think we should go from here? What would you suggest, right? And the last thing sellers of businesses want is to have to think of more ideas, to have to answer more questions. And so if you find a problem, provide a solution and options. Say, hey banker, hey seller, we ran into this thing here. Here's how we think we can get around it. Let's have a chat about A, B, C. These are the options we think X, Y, Z, right? It gives people, and it actually gives you an advantage to kind of create the world of options. If you gave someone 4 options for anything, it's rare that they're actually going to think about things outside of those options. They're going to kind of by default believe that you have contemplated the universe of potential outcomes. So again, be less of a pain. Don't just dump things in people's laps. If you're in this is important kind of on a pre-LOI or pre-IOI basis. When you see certain things about the business, when you're giving a rundown to the banker of, hey, I like this, I don't like this. Here's how I think we can structure something that works. Here's how I think we can get around some of these issues. Here's how I think we can contemplate these things. Right? The last thing everyone else wants is a pile of garbage dumped on their desk that they have to sift through. They just won't do it. So either you must be very simple in your approach, or if there is some complexity to structure, to how you're looking at it, right, or there is a problem, provide solutions, provide steps, let people just pick off the Chinese menu what they want, and you'll get a lot further in the exercise. Number 7, be hyper-responsive. If there's one simple thing you can do, it's respond to emails as fast as you can, respond to phone calls as fast as you can, respond to texts as fast as you can, and when in doubt, though it seems like an anachronism in this world to some extent, pick up the phone. Just call someone. Once you have that rapport, it's amazing how much trust, again, starts to be built. Like, oh, this guy, this gal, they really care. They really want to do this. They want to chat and pick up the phone. They want to learn. They want to get to the bottom of things. They're really solvers of problems, not just flaggers of problems, right? That makes a big difference. Number 8, be accommodating. Now, I don't mean be a doormat, don't get walked all over by people, but understand, if you are buying a non-sponsored business, so something owned by a family, something owned by a few investors, something owned by a founder, an entrepreneur, that is not institutionally capitalized, it's not going to have that institutional imprimatur and processes and sophistication or whatever you want, right? Like part of the reason why you can extract value from a situation is because you're going to be the one to kind of polish a situation into a gem. You may find a situation that it's got quirky processes, it's got quirky people in the business. It might be that there's 4 third cousins that don't talk to each other about something, right? But the more accommodating you can be, and again, factor things in, again, structure around certain things, again, understand it and solve for it, but you can't get miffed by it, right? And so understand, these are humans. Humans all have obligations. Humans all have, things that come up. And so if a seller and you are supposed to chat about something and they can't do it on a Friday morning, say, hey, it's Friday night, I don't know if you got anything going on, but happy to chat then. Or you know what, I'm around this weekend. Or if someone has a slight delay, or if someone says, look, I can only get the documents to you in this format, you got to, just no worries. We'll figure it out and we'll get through it. Again, don't be a doormat. Don't let people work you over and if they're just using you or if they're just wasting your time or spinning wheels. But if people are just trying to kind of get through life while they run a business, while they talk to you about buying the business, try to be accommodating wherever you can. We say to a client, send over the stuff in whatever shape, form, fashion you have, and we will work through it. We'll get it synthesized into the format that we need. We'll get it out there. We just need kind of the raw materials. So tell people the same thing. Just shovel it over however you have it. We'll sort it out. You'll find it decompresses some of the stress. Oh, good. We don't have to, format these things, or we don't have to work so hard, right? Make people's life easier. And that's kind of the recurring theme of a lot of this. Make people's life easier, and good things will happen to you. Number 9 is all of this stuff helps the probability, yet the probability in no situation is going to be certain. Therefore, volume matters. At a certain level in life, volume eradicates randomness. You got to kiss a lot of frogs to find a prince. You got to turn over a lot of rocks to find gold. And it's no different in this business. You can do all of the right things, and lots of leads aren't going to turn into deals for you. Therefore, you need to have sufficient volume, a sufficient process to find more things to look at to ultimately win. But number 10, finally, keep your investors looped in and let the seller know about it to some extent. I mean, you don't have to say like, boy, my investor really thinks this one's an ugly one, but I'm trying to convince them otherwise, right? If you have the investors kind of preemptively buying into a situation, it doesn't hurt to tell a seller or their banker, like, I've already socialized this with my investors. I mean, say it before, you get some of the materials, you sign an NDA, you get the overview and all that good data room stuff, and then you're about to have a call with them, say, hey, schedule in a call for next Tuesday. And by the way, I've already chatted with this on my investors. They're really keen to do it, right? Puts you in a higher ranking of, okay, we know they're capable and we know they're kind of leaning into it. Again, you don't want to seem so overeager that anyone tries to take advantage of you, but to be honest with you, it's rarely the case, so it really helps twofold. Keep your investors in the loop, so that way when there is something to do, they are actionable immediately. So to recap, 10 things that you can do as a search funder to win good deals more often than you think you can. They are simply, 1, show up like a real buyer. 2, focus on the total stack of your offer, not just the legacy of the seller. 3, show interest and experience, not too broad, not too narrow. 4, have real capital and a plan for the company. 5, have a specified timeline that you actually stick to. 6, be less of a pain. Every problem should have a solution that comes with it and some options. 7, be hyper-responsive, and when in doubt, call somebody up. 8, be accommodating. The whole world is filled with people. People can be quirky, idiosyncratic, but always appreciative of someone that is accommodating and understanding. 9, all of the good things in the world don't matter unless you have adequate volume to eradicate the probability of a random outcome. So volume matters. And 10, keep your investors in the loop and keep the counterparty, keep the seller, keep their banker apprised of your capital, your investor's commitment. And so that's the thought for today. 10 things to win more deals as a search fund acquirer. Hope the week continues to go well for everyone. Keep pushing forward. God bless. And we'll see everyone next time.